All right, so for this one, this is how we're all tied in together, and the antediluvian, or whatever, the flood story is something that is in almost all cultures, right? So we have this flood story, and in both the story of Gilgamesh, in the Bible, whatever, Torah, right? We have this idea of three brothers: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And so if I were to do my master's in, if I would have finished religious studies as my major, I dropped out, studied with other people, and I would have done my master's in this. And I think we all have a function, right? So there's three specific brothers, right? Asia is Shem, Africa is Ham, Europe is Japheth, right? And I'll get into the rest of the world too. It all ties in. And we have this other concept of mind, body, and soul, right? Mind, body, and spirit. And each of those brothers, those three brothers, have a function, right? And also, everyone has everything, mind, body, and soul, but they have primary, secondary, tertiary functions. Shem is soul, right? And you can see this through its music and its dance, through all cultures. The music expresses their function the best. If you look at Shem, right, Ham is physical, is the body, and Japheth is the mind. And if you look at their music, first and foremost, you look at the music of Shem in Asia, it's like the lotus blossom in the wind, the four seasons as the leaves fall, right? They're even named after like nature and spirituality, and they have these crazy, very fluid but mystical, almost spiritual types of music. And if you look at Africa, the music is very physical, right? It's body, boom, 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 drums, a lot of drumming, dancing, moving their feet very fast. These kinds of dances are all very physical, right? And if you look at Europe, Japheth, which is the mind, you can see it in the orchestra, right? And how music is laid out in these cut bars, and they make it very mathematical, invert it, reflect it. And orchestra, all these parts, these amazing amount of people all playing these very specific parts, right? It's very calculated. So when you ask what the others, I used to think that South America was Africans and North America were Asians. And then here comes Japheth on the boats. Hey, look what we discovered. And already their brothers were there, right? But actually, I think all the Americas were all Asian. And then there was influences from Africa. Africa had been there already, right? Like the Olmecs. You can see in the Olmec statues and stuff. There had been Africans that had sailed around. And I think this theory is with the Pacific Islanders. So I think there's mixes of all of them, right? So Pacific Islanders and Polynesians are a mix of Africans and Asians, right? They have the curly hair. They are very family oriented like Asians, right? And they are a mix of those two cultures, right? And if you look at Hispanics, they're in the Americas, that what are left, are a mix of Asian and European, right? Shem and Japheth. And they also mostly the family values, but they, have the crazy, you have to, Europeans have an insane work ethic, right? They grind like crazy, like nobody else. And And then I think African Americans, the blacks in America, are a combination of Ham and Japheth, right? The black and the white. And so that pretty much accounts for the world. Australians look mostly African, the Aborigines with a little bit Asian in them. And so there was a lot of travel, but the oldest cultures are probably Asian. So to go back to the story of mind, body, spirit, and the primary and secondary, tertiary functions, the concept comes from this idea. Christians call it Melchizedek, I think is how they say it, but in Hebrew it's Malki-tzedek. It's and some people say it was Shem. But if you look at Asia, so the primary function is soul, right? Spirit. And then it's mind is their secondary, and then body is tertiary. And if you look at their culture, right? First it's to be like dedicated to the family, to be spiritual, the ancestors, right? And we'll talk about how you can tie this all back into the Torah too, of karma, chi, ancestors, chakras, right? They have all that too. But there was a book, the book of Raziel HaMalak, of the angel Raziel, that was studied prior to the giving of the Torah, they say. And it was the book given to Adam in the Garden of Eden, and the book Noah used to make the ark and all kinds of different things. So, but they believe in spirit first, then the mind, right? Have a strong mind, and then the body will just fall in the line. If you align yourself with these things. Africa, body is first, and then soul, gotta have soul. And then the mind is the last thing. If you work on those, the mind will fall into place. And in Europe, we have this saying in the West, mind, body, soul, right? The mind is their primary function. The body is their secondary function, and if you got time, work on your soul. That's their tertiary function, right? Everybody has all three. It's a mix. And the people an African who has more is more prone towards mind is a bridge, right? Or an Asian who's more towards body. They're bridges. Or a Westerner, European, Japheth, who's more towards soul, right? Or one of these other tertiary, secondary functions. They're a bridge between their brothers. So they're not, everybody has everything. Everybody has their primary, secondary, tertiary, but there's going to be people even amongst those different groups that reflect other functions. And those are bridges so that there can be unity between us, right? So that each of the different brothers can unify by having these people who are a little different but bridge the gaps, right? So that we can understand one another. I think that's a really important concept. And each of us, so we're all united. Each of us comes from this like one family. That's the thing we keep forgetting, right? We're all cousins. All of us, we're all cousins. And we keep fighting and killing each other and going crazy over this. And, you're bad and you're bad. Everyone is a killer and a warrior. We've all conquered. We're going to get into that too. This concept of like stolen land is ridiculous. And I know it pisses a lot of people off, but everybody's a conqueror. All of us. We're all warriors. I love that concept in WoW of everyone is a warrior. Every race, quote unquote, has a warrior, right? Because we were. And warriors are defenders, but we've all been trying to find land for a long time. So we'll discuss that further, but let's focus on the unity. What I bless everyone with that you know your brothers. Get to know the world. Like I say, I grew up in Long Beach when it was the most diverse city in America. I'm from European background. My grandparents immigrated to the U.S. My mom was the first one born in America. So I grew up with a lot of immigrants. I partied with a lot of people that were immigrants from all over the world. And, we all got along. You see, we all want the same things out of life. And so I bless everyone to get to know their brothers and their sisters out there and learn to love everyone. And see, the good and bad has nothing to do with color and everything to do with character, right? It has nothing to do with where we're from. It has everything to do with what we are, who we are, and what we do in this world with our time. And so that's my concept of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, mind, body, soul, right? Their functions and how it's expressed through the music that they offer the world. So let's do this, people. Save the humans. Never get out here and you can go on. 'Cause remember her silence, you can show on.